If you receive SSI, SSDI, or Social Security retirement benefits, you need to pay attention right now. The rules have officially changed. This is not a rumor. This is not something coming down the road. The Social Security Administration has implemented a major policy shift, and millions of seniors across America have no idea how it will directly impact their monthly payments, their eligibility, and their long term financial future. We are talking about adjustments that could mean more money in your pocket or a painful cut if you miss critical deadlines. Whether you are already collecting benefits or planning to apply soon, these changes affect you personally. Are your SSI income limits changing? What about SSDI work rules? And what does this mean for your Social Security check starting this month? These are the exact questions we are going to answer clearly and simply in plain English. No confusing government jargon, no runaround. Everything has been broken down step by step so you know exactly where you stand, what is changing, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to protect your benefits. Let's get into it. What is actually happening right now? The Social Security Administration, SSA, has rolled out a series of changes that take effect starting today. These are not minor tweaks. These are significant adjustments across three of the most important benefit programs in the country: Supplemental Security Income, SSI, Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, regular Social Security retirement benefits. All three programs are seeing changes at the same time. That is what makes this particular moment so critical for so many Americans. SSI changes what you need to know. SSI is a needs-based program. That means it is not based on how long you worked or how much you paid into Social Security. It is based on your financial situation right now. For years, for decades, honestly, the rules around SSI have been incredibly rigid and in many cases incredibly unfair. One of the biggest complaints from SSI recipients has always been the resource limits. Up until very recently, if you had more than two $8,000 in the bank, just $2,000, you could be cut off from SSI entirely. If you were a couple, that limit was $3,000. Think about that for a moment. In today's world, where a single unexpected medical bill, a car repair, or a home emergency can cost thousands of dollars, the SSA was essentially telling people on SSI that they could not save any money, not a penny beyond that tiny limit. If you did save money, if you tried to build even a small cushion for emergencies, you could lose your benefits. That was not a system designed to help people thrive. It was a system designed to keep people exactly where they were. The good news, and this is genuinely good news, is that this is changing. The SSA has been under enormous pressure from advocates, lawmakers, and families across the country to modernize these outdated rules. While full legislative reform is still pending, the agency has taken administrative steps to update how certain things are counted and treated under SSI. What does that mean for you? It means more flexibility for recipients when it comes to what counts against your resource limit. There are also important new interpretations about how certain types of income are treated. Now, let's be very clear so there is no confusion. The base federal SSI payment rate has also seen an adjustment. As of this year, the maximum federal SSI benefit for an individual is now $943 per month. For a couple where both individuals qualify, that figure rises to $1,415 per month. These numbers reflect the cost of living adjustment, COLA, that the SSA applies each year. Some of you might be thinking $943 a month is not a lot of money, and you are absolutely right. It is not enough, but it is more than it was before. And combined with the other rule changes happening right now, the overall picture for SSI recipients is somewhat better today than it was yesterday. One of the most significant updates involves how the SSA counts what they call in-kind support and maintenance. This is a term that has caused enormous confusion and hardship for SSI recipients for many years. In-kind support and maintenance refers to things like food and shelter that someone else provides for you. If a family member lets you live with them or helps pay for your groceries, the SSA used to reduce your SSI benefit because of it. They essentially penalized you for having family support. That always struck people as deeply wrong. The idea that getting help from your loved ones would reduce your government benefits. Under the updated rules, the treatment of in-kind support is being streamlined. In many cases, certain types of family support no longer trigger those reductions the way they used to. This is a real meaningful change for people who rely on family members to help them stay afloat. SSDI changes, work rules, and substantial gainful activity. Now, let's talk about SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. This program works very differently from SSI. SSDI is an earned benefit. You must have worked and paid Social Security taxes for a certain amount of time in order to qualify. The amount you receive depends on your earnings history, just like regular Social Security retirement benefits. SSDI is for people who become unable to work due to a serious medical condition that is expected to last at least 12 months or result in death. For SSDI recipients, one of the most nerve-wracking aspects of the program has always been what happens when you try to go back to work. Many people on SSDI want to try working again. They want to test their abilities, maybe work part-time, maybe ease back into the workforce, but the rules around working while on SSDI have always been complicated and frankly scary for a lot of people. The fear was always, if I try to work and it doesn't go well, will I lose my benefits? Will I have to start the whole application process over again? Will I be stuck in limbo for months or years waiting for my case to be reconsidered? The SSA has specific rules around what they call substantial gainful activity, SGA. This is the income threshold that determines whether someone is considered able to work or not. If you earn more than the SGA limit, the SSA may determine that you are no longer disabled under their definition, which can affect your SSDI eligibility. For 2026, the SGA limit for non-blind individuals has been updated to $1,620 per month. For individuals who are blind, the limit is higher to $1,620 per month. For individuals who are blind, the limit is higher to $2,700 per month. These numbers are critical to know because if you are on SSDI and thinking about working, you need to know exactly where the line is. There is also what is known as the trial work period, TWP. This is actually a very valuable protection that many SSDI recipients do not fully understand or take advantage of. The trial work period allows you to test your ability to work for up to 9 months. Those months do not have to be consecutive. They can be spread over a 5-year rolling period without affecting your SSDI benefits at all. During those trial work months, you receive your full SSDI payment regardless of how much you earn. The threshold for what counts as a trial work month in 2026 has also been adjusted. Why does this matter so much? For people with disabilities, the ability to try working without immediately losing benefits is not just a financial question. It is a question of dignity. It is about having the freedom to see if your health allows you to do something productive without being terrified that one good month at a part-time job will unravel years of benefits you legitimately earned and desperately need. The updated rules around the trial work period and continuing disability reviews are aimed at giving people more breathing room. That is a step in the right direction. Social Security retirement benefits, COLA, and what it really means. Now, let's move on to regular Social Security retirement benefits because this is the program that most of you are probably most familiar with. If you are at or near retirement age, or if you are already collecting, you need to understand what is changing and how it affects your monthly check. The most widely known annual change to Social Security is the cost of living adjustment, COLA. For 2026, that COLA has already been applied to payment. The Social Security COLA is determined based on inflation data, specifically the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, CPIW, which is a government measure of how much prices are rising for everyday goods and services. The COLA adjustment this year has resulted in higher monthly payments for the more than 70 million Americans who receive Social Security benefits. While the exact dollar amount varies depending on your benefit level, the average Social Security retirement benefit has now crossed into new territory, giving retirees a bit more purchasing power to deal with the ongoing pressures of inflation on groceries, utilities, and healthcare. But here is something that a lot of people overlook when we talk about Social Security changes, and we really want you to pay attention to this part. Overlook when we talk about Social Security changes, and we really want you to pay attention to this part. The COLA increase is great. More money each month is always welcome, but there are other factors that can eat into that increase very quickly. The biggest one is Medicare Part B premiums. For most people who are on Medicare, the monthly premium for Part B, which covers doctor visits and outpatient services, is automatically deducted from your Social Security check. If that premium goes up at the same time your Social Security goes up, some or even all of your COLA increase can disappear right before your eyes. So, when you open your statement and see that your payment went up, you also need to look at what is being deducted. The net increase that actually hits your bank account may be smaller than the headline number suggests. There is a protection in place called the hold harmless provision. This provision says that your actual Social Security payment cannot go down from one year to the next because of an increase in Medicare Part B premiums. In other words, if the Medicare premium increase would technically wipe out your COLA and then some, the SSA limits how much of the premium is taken out of your check to make sure you still receive at least as much as you did the year before. This is an important protection, and most Social Security recipients are covered by it. However, if you are newly enrolling in Medicare, or if you have higher income and pay a higher Part B premium through what is called the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, IRMA, you may not have the same protection. Understanding how IRMA works and whether it applies to you is something worth sitting down and figuring out carefully, possibly with the help of a Medicare counselor or a Social Security benefits expert. The earnings test if you are still working while collecting. Now, let's talk about something that affects people who are still working while collecting Social Security. Specifically, people who are collecting before they reach what is called their full retirement age, FRA. This is an area where a lot of people get caught off guard, and the consequences can be financially significant. The SSA has what is called an earnings test. If you are collecting Social Security retirement benefits before your full retirement age and you are still working, there is a limit on how much you can earn before the SSA starts temporarily withholding some of your benefits. For 2026, that earnings limit has been updated. Knowing that number is essential if you are in this situation, because going over the limit does not mean you lose those benefits forever. The SSA does credit them back to you later, but in the short term, it can result in reduced monthly payments that can create real financial stress. Once you reach your full retirement age, the earnings test goes away entirely. You can earn as much as you want from work without any reduction in your Social Security benefit. But for people who claim early, and claiming early is extremely common with many people starting their benefits at age 62, the earnings test can be a real factor. If you are still working and collecting early Social Security, you absolutely need to know this limit and plan around it. When to claim Social Security, the most important decision you will make. Speaking of claiming age, let's spend a moment on one of the most important financial decisions any senior will ever make: when to claim Social Security. The rules around this have not changed dramatically, but with the environment we are in right now and the changes happening across the system, it is worth revisiting the basics. So many people make this decision without fully understanding the long-term consequences. You can start claiming Social Security retirement benefits as early as age 62, but if you claim at 62, your benefit is permanently reduced, typically by about 25% to 30% compared to what you would receive at your full retirement age. Your full retirement age depends on when you were born. If you were born between 1943 and 1954, your FRA is 66. If you were born in 1960 or later, your FRA is 67. For people born between those years, it phases in between 66 and 67. On the other end, if you delay claiming beyond your full retirement age, your benefit grows by about 8% for each year you wait up until age 70. After 70, there is no additional benefit to waiting. So the range is basically this: claim at 62, get a reduced benefit for the rest of your life. Claim at your full retirement age, get your standard benefit. Delay up to 70, get a significantly enhanced benefit for the rest of your life. The right choice depends entirely on your personal situation, your health, your finances, whether you have a spouse whose benefits are also being considered, and how you think about risk. There is no single right answer, but there are a lot of wrong answers that come from not understanding the trade-offs. Spousal and survivor benefits don't leave money on the table. Let's also talk about something that often gets overlooked when people discuss Social Security, spousal, and survivor benefits. These are hugely important, especially for older women who may have spent significant portions of their lives as caregivers rather than in the paid workforce, and who may have lower earnings records as a result. If you are married, you may be entitled to claim a spousal benefit based on your spouse's earnings record up to 50% of their full retirement age benefit, if that is higher than what you would receive on your own record. You do not have to have worked for decades to get this benefit. What matters is your spouse's work history. And if your spouse passes away, you may be entitled to a survivor benefit up to 100% of what your spouse was receiving. This is one of the most valuable protections in the entire Social Security system. And yet, many widows and widowers do not claim it correctly or do not understand all the rules around it. The timing of when you claim survivor benefits relative to your own retirement benefits can make a significant difference in your lifetime income. This is another area where getting personalized advice, whether from the SSA directly or from an independent benefits counselor, can genuinely pay off in the long run. For divorced individuals, there are also rules that may allow you to claim benefits based on your ex-spouse's record, even if they have remarried. The general rule is that your marriage must have lasted at least 10 years and you must currently be unmarried. If those conditions are met, you may be entitled to spousal or survivor benefits based on your ex-spouse's record without it affecting what they receive in any way. Many divorced seniors, especially women, do not realize this benefit exists and they leave significant money on the table as a result. Protecting yourself from Social Security scams. One more thing we need to mention, and this cannot be overstated. Please be aware of Social Security scams. They are everywhere right now, and they are getting more sophisticated every year. Scammers will call you, email you, or even text you pretending to be from the SSA. They will tell you your Social Security number has been suspended, that there is a problem with your benefits, that you owe money, or that you need to verify your information. None of that is how the real SSA operates. The SSA will never call you out of the blue to demand payment or threaten you with arrest. They will never ask you to pay with gift cards or wire transfers. If you receive a suspicious communication claiming to be from Social Security, do not engage with it. Hang up the phone, delete the email. If you are worried, call the SSA directly at their official number. Protecting yourself from scams is just as important as understanding your benefits because scammers specifically target seniors and specifically target people who depend on these programs. Final takeaways: what you need to do right now. Here is what you should take away from everything we have discussed today. The Social Security system, as imperfect as it is, represents decades of work and contributions from you and from the people before you. The changes happening right now are part of an ongoing effort to modernize and adjust a program that affects more American lives than almost anything else the federal government does. Some of these changes are good news: more flexibility for SSI recipients, updated SGA limits for SSDI, COLA adjustments for retirees. Some of the broader policy conversations are less certain and require vigilance. But in all of it, the most important thing you can do is stay informed, stay engaged, and make sure you are claiming everything you have earned. You worked for these benefits. You paid into the system for years, maybe for decades. You have every right to receive what is owed to you, and you have every right to demand that the system work properly. Do not let confusion or fear keep you from getting what is yours. Reach out to the SSA, connect with a benefits counselor, talk to a trusted financial advisor, and keep seeking out information that cuts through the noise and gives you the real answers you need to make good decisions for yourself and your family. The changes that went into effect today are just the beginning of what is shaping up to be a significant period of evolution for these programs. Your retirement, your security, and your peace of mind matter.